G'day. Here we are. The inaugural episode of the Wing It podcast.
We've made it.
Unbelievable. I don't know how we have.
Neither do I.
A lot of preparations coming to this day.
A little bit.
Oh, yeah. Only a little bit. But no, I'd like to welcome your hosts. Obviously, I'm Matt.
I'm Cameron.
And yeah, this is the Wing It podcast. So strap yourself in. It's going to be a wild ride. Going to go, 1,000 episodes I reckon we'll go for at least.
Something like that, give or take.
Something like that. So
Anyway, so this is the Wing It podcast. Will be a weekly podcast, and we're going to highlight some of sports' biggest news throughout the week, and then we will also preview the upcoming fixtures throughout the week, talk about what we like, just talk a lot of shit about sport, to be honest.
yeah, a lot of biased opinions.
A lot of biased opinions, but just a lot of shit about sport, what our opinions are, and between the two of us, there's a hell of a lot of opinions. Polar opposites to some degree, and some agreement, like the Wizards. There's some agreements, which we'll get into after.
Oh, no.
But there's also a lot of polar opposite opinions. So without any further ado, I'll introduce ourselves. So my other host is Matt. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, might as well go ahead and do that. So obviously just your typical laid back bloke, as every Australian bloke says. So no, just love me sports. So obviously love following all the sports in Australia as well, and obviously over in America it's massive. So big fan of the NBA. I follow the Mavs, so a bit of a European lover, Doncic lover, absolutely.
Yeah.
You hear me dick ride them a fair bit, so
Too much.
have to bleep that one out already.
Heaps.
A bit of a Tennessee Titans fan as well. No really explanation for that. Just got a jersey when I was younger, so followed them in the NFL. Never really been good, which segues right into the Demons. So never been good at all. Been alive for 21 years and they've been in one grand final, and I didn't watch it.
You were still the womb,
because I was like 6 months old.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, so I didn't actually quite get to watch that one. Maybe one day we'll get in this year. Who knows? Big year every year. So, but no, not too interesting to be fair. It's just a lot of biased takes. Is what you're going to be hearing, and you're going to be hearing that from this man as well. So,
yeah, I'll probably do my fair share of biased takes. Yeah, biased takes. I'll give you that. But yes, I'm Cameron. So I'm a diehard Port Adelaide fan. They're my first ever love and only love to date. Allegedly. Anyway, regardless, they're my one and true love. Anyway, Port Adelaide fan. So yes, plenty of biased takes about the Port, especially when we win the flag this year. But apart from that, moving on to American sports, I think that's going to be heavily dominating most of our podcast, the Winger podcast. AFL throughout the season is going to be the main. But all American sports, especially NBA, NFL, we might dabble a tiny little bit in baseball, but only when it comes to the World Series, and that's probably about it if we're going to be honest.
Oh, that's definitely.
It might only be a 5-minute chat, maybe 2 minutes.
Barely. If there's good punts to put on, then I'll be all over.
If there's punts to talk about, then it'll be included. But apart from that, we're not going to talk about it. So it's only going to be NBA, NFL. But back to the topic. I'm a Minnesota fan. Minnesota fan of all sports, whether it's the Twins, the Wild, all my beloved Vikings and Timberwolves. So Minnesota and Port Adelaide through and through. So you'll be hearing plenty of biased takes along those.
I'm afraid you'll actually want to move to Minnesota after hearing how great it is from Cam.
Yeah, it's probably the best city in the world if you don't watch the sport, because we suck at it all. But apart from that, that's me, and I love my horses. So one of the main things we'll talk about in this podcast as well, not this one right now, but into the future, and hopefully the next few podcasts will be the Autumn Carnival coming up, which is a big time in a horse racing calendar. So I'll highlight the Autumn Carnival. Should have some juicy tips, hopefully, for the Adelaide Cup. If you follow my tips, good chance you'll probably go broke. But I'll put effort into it. That's the main thing.
Well, look, all I want to do is rock up to the races with Cam, looking better than him, and put the chocolates in the fridge, put the food on the table.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Cheers, really. Boys, cheers.
Exactly right.
That's all that matters.
But no, may as well get into some NBA.
Yeah, it's enough about us. Let's get on to the week that was in NBA, because there's no other sport going on. AFL's not yet. NFL's done.
Exactly.
I can't think of another sport that's on. We're not going to talk about the one days, are we? Or whatever, cricket's happening. So,
and the tennis is...
we'll talk about a little bit of tennis.
We'll
talk a little bit about the tennis. We'll recap a little bit on the Aussie Open towards the end.
I was pretty high on Medvedev.
Yes.
I don't know about you, Cam. But,
as was I, unfortunately.
So, the 6'6" man from Russia But I don't really know if we're going to be talking about that because
No,
I
my
don't know
bank
about
account's-
enough of tennis to be
My
fair.
bank account's still hurting. So we'll probably steer clear for that towards the end, if you're lucky.
Only a joke, of course. Gamble responsibly. So
Responsibly.
onto
Irresponsibly.
the prime matchup of the day was a great matchup that went into OT in the end. The Lakers losing to the Wizards. Our Wizards.
Wizards.
Oh, we were really high in this team, weren't we, Cam?
There's a reason why we started this podcast 21 games into this, whatever. I don't know. How many games are we in? 30 odd games.
38% of the seasons.
There we go. There's a reason why we started this so far into the season, because if we started this at the start of the season, you would have thought we were maniacs with the Wizards. Then if we started it 2 weeks into the season, you would have thought we were absolute loonies with the Wizards. And now we're back on board because we won 5 in a row.
Exactly.
The Wizards, we love the Wizards.
We do. And you know what? Russell Westbrook went out and did Russell Westbrook things today. He put up 14 rebounds, 9 assists, handled that with 32 points on not Russell Westbrook things with good field goal shooting.
Dare I say, the worst 2 misses I've ever seen in terms of open layups. But
Perhaps.
regardless,
But he shot 52% from the field.
it's not bad.
He may have shot worse from free throw.
That's shocking.
But
What's happened to him?
and nearly fouled out, actually. But you know what? They got the win in the end. And Cam, I know you were watching it. I was watching it. And he was going head-to-head with LeBron in that final quarter.
He gave it a shot and he played well. I mean, in the second quarter and the third quarter, as soon as he went off the court, Wizards were a better team. I think it was on 2 runs there where he came off, 7-0 run, came back on, went to shit, came off, 7-0 run. Him going off the court was keeping Wizards in the game. But, in saying that, when it came to the crunch time, and especially the overtime when he hit that big 3 to start off the overtime, yeah, you know what? I'm not a Westbrook lover. In fact, I hate him, which makes no sense as to why I love the Wizards. Because I hate Westbrook. But
That's why I was so
good game.
confused. I thought I was crazy for loving the Wizards because I'm a big Westbrook fan and we won't even talk about his MVP season because it's often the point of debate between us.
That will come up eventually.
Obviously, it was deserved because it was history in the making,
It's
and
not coming up
we
today.
witnessed it, and I'll tell my children
Stay
about
tuned
it.
for another podcast, and we will enlighten you into the... we might make our own podcast, just a single podcast called 2016? 2016 MVP.
Perhaps. But
Perhaps.
it was definitely 17, actually. Because Steph won in 2016.
So that was the unanimous year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
All right, 2017 then.
But
Great
then
start.
Bradley Beal also went off for 33 points, which is quite good.
He's unbelievable.
We've seen a lot of that from him this season. He's averaging 33 points, actually.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah, so very well-deserved All-Star starter there after being snubbed year after year in the past.
Yeah, he's got it stiff, hasn't he?
He does. But he even matched that with 7.6 assists. Very un-Bradley Beal-like.
It gives underrated on defense as well, Bill, I want to say. Because he's tenacious. He might not be the guy who's going to give you steals and blocks, but he's tenacious. He's a bit of a pest.
And when you match that with his length...
Exactly, it works out well.
It doesn't make it easy.
No.
Does not make it easy at all.
And he is a spearhead of that with his team, and he has been for a while now. I think he's finally getting his due diligence, considering everyone thought that was Wolves' team for a while there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Bill was such a big part of that.
Big time. He's really coming through this year, and he's getting all the accolades he deserves. But also, LeBron James today. He may not have got the win, but he's shown in year 18 why he is still the king.
31, 9, and 13. He's just unreal, isn't he?
He just...
2 for 10 from 3. Arguably, he's one of his worst shooting nights, probably of the season.
8 turnovers.
Like, probably one of his worst games. If it's a word. But worst games.
It helped that he played the 43 minutes.
100%. Why is he playing 43 minutes in a game in year 18 against the Wizards?
No, just shouldn't be happening.
It just that game was lost.
Especially when you got Montrezl Harrell coming off the bench with his energy, posting up 26 and 9. It's huge.
He was actually shooting some seriously good shots, Harold. That you look at that, his shooting split there.
Yeah,
high split, but he was taking these weren't just simple lobs or in the paint dunks. He was doing some fadeaways. I think it was twice in a row he was doing fadeaways on Lopez.
Yeah.
From about halfway. Not halfway, but between the 3-point line and the paint, and they were dropping.
He's impressed me this season. When I've watched him, his post work,
unreal,
where he's pulling up these jumpers, it's just
they were
out of nowhere. When was that on the Clippers in the playoffs?
They were wet.
Where was that in the playoffs?
Can we talk about, because and this is enough of this game midway through the season.
Yeah. The Wizards.
We can talk about Wizards all day, because It makes no sense as to why we love them, but we love them so much. I hate Westbrook, you love Westbrook. I love Bill, you love Bill. But then we just love all the role players. I love Rui, I love Denny, I love Bertans. Was it 9-finger assassin for a reason?
Yeah.
Finger?
Absolutely.
Something about was anyway. We just spoke about Harold before with the Clippers last year. Can we talk about the Clippers this year? Because I got asked this question today. Who's my tip to win the title this year?
Oh.
You asked me that question, a month ago, was the Lakers, no doubt. And then you think there's some uncertainty now when you include Anthony Davis' injury, which is supposed to only be a 3-week injury, but an Achilles of any type to a guy who's 7 foot is going to be an issue.
The amount of times I've seen him hobble off the court.
It's unbelievable. Anthony Davis has played hurt, dare I say, since the day he entered the league.
Almost.
And to this point now. So, it's an issue, 100%. But when I got asked that question, I had to think about it. I had to go, all right, so there's some uncertainty over Anthony Davis. You look at Clippers and nothing screams title to me when you look at Clippers.
Well,
at all.
The main thing I have it with is, for a title team, for me to stay there 100% a title team, I need to know who their starting 5 is. Who is the Clippers starting 5? So, obviously, you got Paul, and you got Kawhi. But then, are you throwing guys like Batum in there? Lou Will, Pat Bev, Nick Batum.
Reggie Jackson as well is coming to the lineup. Ibaka as well.
Morris.
Yeah, Morris is... He's the interesting one, Morris.
He is. Do they go small and play him maybe at the 5?
100%. Yeah, no, that's a good call because Morris is that guy who I feel like he's getting a bum steer because he could easily be that starting 4. Week in, week out, no stress. Ibaka at the 5.
He's getting paid like it.
And he can play like it. Can shoot the 3, defends well, plays tough, gives you grit.
Definitely.
Can shoot a mid-range, can play post, can do most things.
Shoots big games.
Oh, and he shoots well.
I remember him on the Knicks against my Mavericks. He hit 2 game winners. And then, before that, Luka shot game 4 of the playoffs. You know the one. The step back.
Yes.
Over Reggie Jackson. Beautiful. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. He hit a big 3 just before that. He hits big shots.
No, he does. And Clippers just have no identity, and that's got to do what we're saying with having no starting lineup. There's no identity. You don't look at that Clippers team and go, all right, I know what team's rocking up, and I know what I'm going to get day in, day out.
And you can't blame Doc Rivers anymore. That's what they blamed. They said identity
he was
crisis.
A scapegoat, wasn't he?
100%.
100% scapegoat.
It was shocking. And look at them now, they're doing well. They're the second seed, or tied second seed with the Lakers. They got the tiebreaker on.
Yeah, they're not doing bad. We're not saying they're doing bad.
But you think about it, you're 22-10, and you've got Kawhi shooting 50, 40, 90.
Unbelievable.
Averaging a career high assists. You've got Paul George shooting 50, 50, 90.
MVP caliber only about a month ago before his injury. Or not even a month ago, 2 weeks ago, dare I say.
With a career high in assists. Running the offense that they wanted, the triangle offense. That's what they wanted all year.
100%.
And look at them. They're 22-10. Matched with a Lakers team that hasn't had a healthy AD all season. Was he averaging about 20 points and 8 rebounds or something?
We were betting on this not long ago, saying that Anthony Davis double-double is... Lock. You don't touch it anymore.
No, not anymore. It used to be a lock. Nowadays...
6 months ago, last season, double-double every single night.
Unless he plays in Chicago.
Unless he plays in Chicago.
That's it. But you look at someone like Julius...
Or against the Nets.
Oh, exactly. But you look at someone like Julius Randle, and it's is Julius Randle the kind of player that showed he could be a Finals MVP last year? That's what AD is. But Randle is putting up better stats than him, having a better season, playing better.
Unbelievably well.
Can AD get back to that health?
We don't know. And that's the question, isn't it?
Because last year he had the benefit of having those 3-4 months off.
Oh, that helped that Lakers team tremendously. Not just AD, but LeBron as well.
100%.
That was their, dare I say, saving grace.
It was
exactly their saving grace.
It 100% was.
No discredit to their season, obviously, because every team had that break, but it helped them more than others with their age and with their injury worries. But that Clippers team, I look at that team and go, I just don't know if I can trust that team in playoffs because I don't look at it and go, all right, that's the team. I know what I'm getting. I mean, I look at that. You take out Paul George, who's playoff P, who's been putrid. Playoff P for putrid in playoffs.
Literally.
Putrid.
PG 13%. I've never seen a player get more hate in a single off season.
No, and
never. Even Durant when he went to Golden State Warriors.
Playoff P got it worse.
Worse.
So that's why I look at Clippers and go, all right, I can't trust you. I don't like anyone else in your team because your guards give me nothing. Let's be honest, Pat Bev and Lou Will.
Lou Will's been nothing
nice.
this season.
Lou Will's, yeah. He's a nice player. Lou Will's great, don't get me wrong. But he's not taking you anywhere.
He's not.
Not taking you anywhere at all.
He's not your lead guard.
No, he's like a Buddy Hield at Sacramento. He's like a nice player, can give you a night or two, cool, whatever. Going to give you a 40-point game here and there, but that's it.
And he's going to get bullied on defense.
Exactly, because he does not do anything.
Exactly.
But enough of the Clippers. So when I asked that question, I thought, all right, Lakers, I'm not sure. Clippers, can't trust.
Don't say it.
Nets is the next one.
Oh.
But I can't trust the Nets either. Because we just don't know. It's the fear of the unknown here. It's a bit of the coronavirus. We're not sure.
Do you know who would be a perfect player for them?
Who?
So what they need, a rebounder, a rim protector,
Oh, I need some
a guy who
some
rolls.
defense.
Do you know who would be great?
Who?
Guy named Jarrett Allen.
That would be handy, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
On the
that they
Nets
traded away for, essentially traded away for a second round pick. That's all that they got him in that
Someone
trade.
they could just defend.
That's all they need. There's talk about them
Clear the
getting.
rim.
There's talk about them getting Andre Drummond in the buyout market. But what's Andre Drummond going to provide for you? He's going to get played off the floor with defense. They're going to attack him in the post.
Non-stop.
Free throws. You can't hit any clutch free throws.
No, it's be a hacker Drummond.
You may have the three best offensive players we have right now, potentially.
Yeah.
But if you have Drummond, they're just going to attack him. The ball's going to be
100%.
in his hands as much as the defense wants it to be. But I don't think right now, I cannot say there is a definitive
No.
championship favourite.
No, neither can I.
Everyone's got their problems.
100%.
But do you know who doesn't have any problems right now? The Utah Jazz.
Yep. And that's where we're heading with this whole conversation.
The Utah Jazz are running.
They are hot.
It's not even hot.
They're not even hot. They are literally, they're burning because they have been hot for a while and they're staying hot.
They've been hot for too long.
This isn't just a little phase.
So they started the season. Get this.
They were 0-2.
They may have been, but
Because
they
Minnesota beat them round one.
They started the season 4-4.
Yeah, they did too. Because Minnesota
They are
beat them.
now 25-6.
That's nuts.
So
Isn't
they
it?
have gone 23-2.
That's nuts.
And you know what?
And one of those losses was against the Clippers, and a very gallant loss as well.
In the last 25 games, how's this for a start? Last 25 games, they have covered 22%. 22 games, sorry.
Of the line.
Of the line. 22.
They
Vegas
are
doesn't
Hunter's
lose.
dream.
Vegas doesn't lose.
Never does. Never has. Never will.
There's always teams that get hot, and Vegas catches up to them. Even today, they stretched the line out for Utah to -12.5.
And it started low. I checked. It was 6.5 the night before.
Exactly.
Against
it was 4.5 to 24 hours
against
before.
Charlotte.
Yeah, exactly. -12.5. They covered easy.
They covered by 22 in the end, and they are saying ridiculous.
What do good teams do?
They cover. Oh, good teams win. Great teams
Great
cover.
teams cover.
Sorry, good teams
This
win.
is a great team at
teams
the
cover.
moment. If they were scraping victories by Rudy Gobert just locking down their opposing centre,
You go, yeah.
then you'd be like, all right. But they are blowing teams out.
They have like 100%, and that's got nothing to do with some players like Rudy Gobert.
It doesn't.
You actually look at his last month, I feel like he's not, but I feel like he's averaging 8 and 12. That's what it seems like he's giving you every night, isn't it?
100%.
Because he's not dominating the boards, he's not dominating the paint. He's obviously giving his great defense, which we know.
Yeah.
And they've had Connolly out for a bit of this too.
They have.
And he was really coming into his own there.
And Donovan Mitchell was not Donovan Mitchell.
No.
Because I traded for him in our fantasy team.
Yes.
And some people looked at it like it was silly.
Yeah, I know. I traded
And
Connolly
now look at
away.
me. And now look at me. And there's a guy in our fantasy league right now who is 9-0. And he looks a whole lot like me. Anyway, we'll get on to that later because I'm happy to talk about fantasy. But I just think, you look at the three teams we've mentioned. After that, you got Phoenix, you got Portland, you got Milwaukee,
Meh.
Indiana.
Meh.
Boston's struggling. I'm not liking anyone.
I like no one apart from 4 teams. And even still, I don't think Utah can...
Do you know who I'm liking though?
Phoenix.
So, no. I like a team who is up there, is in the mix. They've got a potential MVP candidate, potential Defensive Player of the Year candidate. I know their starting 5, which is important.
100%.
I know their identity. I know the city's behind them. And they know who their number 1 option is. And that is a team that can also match up with the Lakers better than anyone. That is the Philadelphia Sixers.
Yeah, you're right.
The 76ers have Ben Simmons, who, apart from what we found out today about Rui Hachimura, who can defend LeBron like...
He was defending Bron very well. I mean, LeBron still had 38, 9 and 13.
Yeah, it's not
31,
stupid.
9 and 13. But regardless,
that's...
Rui was great defense.
Considering Iggy got a Finals MVP for holding LeBron to like 32, 8 and 8.
Exactly.
That's pretty impressive.
Exactly.
But Ben Simmons, built the same as LeBron, but 2 inches taller.
Perfect matchup.
Longer.
Faster.
Dare I say, if he's not the best defender in the NBA right now,
he's
the most versatile.
Oh, he can guard 1 to 5. Easy.
I watched him guard LeBron James, and 2 weeks later, guard Damian Lillard.
Both no stress.
And you know what? Against Giannis in the playoff,
I'd happily put Simmons on him.
100%.
100%.
All game.
Could you imagine if you've got Giannis... Because the recipe to beat Milwaukee, because I imagine Philly's going to have to go through Milwaukee one way or another
100%.
to get to the East. It's highly unlikely they don't meet each other at all. They meet each other at the end or at least one before. So, to beat Milwaukee, we've figured out the recipe now. It's just to get the ball out of Giannis' hand or make him shoot.
Definitely.
Simple as that. You can't trust Chris Middleton. You can't trust... I like Drew Holiday. You're not going to trust him.
No.
It's going to be make Giannis shoot, dare him to shoot, or get the ball out of his hand. If you imagine you're Giannis and you're going to drive to the paint or you're going to post him, whatever, and they double team you with Simmons and Joel Embiid, that's over. That's over.
But you know what? Say you get the ball out of Giannis' hands.
That's over.
Say Chris Middleton goes and he's like Game 3 or Game 4 in Miami and he just goes crazy.
Goes off.
Because he can.
He can.
He's not a volume guy.
He can go 46 and 6.
Exactly.
No worries.
Is he efficient? 100%.
Very efficient.
He's a mate. He can honestly shoot a game where he's shooting like 80% from the field and like 100% from free throw. I wouldn't be surprised. But you take the ball out of Giannis' hands, put it in Chris Middleton's hands. Ben Simmons switches on to him as well.
Exactly.
And you know who goes on to Giannis? My pick for Defense Player of the Year, who was Joel Embiid. You can't escape it.
And you've got length like Tobias Harris just hanging around, who's just a long... He's not an amazing defender, but he's long.
Exactly. And you know what? You chuck in Thibault, another great defender, who will be playing for Australia in the Olympics, by the way.
We represent that. Love
Amazing.
that. Love that.
We're looking to have a really good team, actually.
We're very good.
A lot of length.
Too much length, almost.
Oh, I don't know. Paddy Mills might just average like 9 threes a game.
He might just.
He's the only person who can shoot threes on that team.
The only one.
Him and Jingle Bells.
True.
But we'll see how we go.
A lot of length in that team. But regardless, back to Philly.
My pick to win the East right now, even if the Sixers even if the Nets get Drummond or Jarrett Allen type player.
Some sort of protection.
Yeah, any rim protection, I still take Philly. They can't do anything about Joel Embiid. And Joel Embiid has shown this year that he's locked in.
And he's an MVP. He's a top 3 MVP player right now.
If the other player in the MVP conversation was not named LeBron James,
Embiid's
but doing the same thing, exactly, 100% is.
No, you're exactly right. He's been unstoppable, and especially that game we had 50 points.
Yeah,
was it 2 days ago? He was
50 and 17.
He was unguardable. Dare I say 4 blocks as well? But regardless, it was an unguardable game. That 50th point just summed it up.
Oh,
It took him to the corner, a little fadeaway type jump shot. Defender right there, and he had a foot outside the perimeter.
100%.
And it was wet.
And they're saying the art of the
So
post
Hakeem type,
the art of the post is dead.
He was playing exactly like Hakeem.
100%.
It was unbelievable.
Well, I don't know if we go that far, but that game, yes.
Oh my God.
That game he might have been.
He was pulling out some post moves that no one's seen in a long time.
I'm very impressed by him. And I think there's no one stopping him.
No.
Not named Marc Gasol. Because Marc Gasol is the Joel Embiid stopper. And you know this.
We'll see with Marc Gasol's old ass has to fight him in the post.
I would play Marc Gasol 40 minutes a game in the finals if I had to. Because Joel Embiid cannot get more than like 17 points against him.
No, he can't.
I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it makes no sense.
Maybe it's BO or something.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Maybe it's his Spanish accent that scares him.
He wants to stay away from him.
I don't know what it is.
Anyway, we've gone too far. We got back on the Lakers. We need to get off that.
Yeah, we need to get off it.
So, on to the game with the Suns, I reckon. Suns flogging Portland by 32 points.
They're not getting any respect. They're 20-10. That's a top. Is that, dare I say, top 5 seed in the league? 20-10.
And Devin Booker is on a tear.
Top 4 seed. Above Philly. We're just giving Philly so much
Exactly.
props, and they've got a better record than Philly.
And Devin Booker's on a tear. And I'll put it out there. I'm not a Devin Booker lover.
Oh, I love Booker.
I know you love him. I'm not a Devin Booker lover. And he's going off right now. He put up 34 today.
And
Chris Paul put up 2 points.
2?
But you know what? That team, 2, 3, and 9.
Look at that.
But you know what? That team can win without that because they're getting players on the bench like Cam Johnson. He's averaging 10 points off the bench, but he does the nitty-gritty stuff as well.
That's
and
unbelievable.
he shows up when you need him. They got Dario Saric, who I absolutely loved during the process era.
That's unbelievable.
Their team is so well-rounded. Players like Frank Kaminsky are starting.
132 points with their second best player giving you 2.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
And 1 for 9 from deep. Or 1 for 9 for shooting, sorry.
And if Aiden can pull his finger out and start putting up double-doubles and helping
Which
him
he
out on the...
should be doing automatically every night.
He's the most athletic guy out there.
Easily.
It's not
I mean,
even
he
close.
is averaging 14 and 12 for the season, Aiden.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
But he needs to
He's
do it more consistently.
oh,
I
100%.
see too many of these games. He's putting up 5 rebounds.
he's doing it a lot.
And look who he's going against. Enes Kanter. I understand Enes Kanter's great on the offensive boards, but you just need to do something about it. Box him
100%.
out. You're stronger than him, more athletic than him.
Way stronger than he's Cannon. Now, that 5 boards against Cannon, that's pretty piss weak.
100%.
If Dario Saric's going to give you 9, then Aiden should be giving you at least 12.
And I think the story of this game is Damian Lillard. He has been doing it all. He has got himself into that MVP candidate.
He's unreal.
And I want to talk about this for a second. Damian Lillard, MVP. All-Star.
Yeah.
100% should have been All-Star. Right?
He will be, but he should be a starter.
No, starter, sorry. Yeah. So
Who took his role? Doncic
No. Yeah. Curry.
That's it, Doncic.
But everyone is saying, nah, fuck Luka. He shouldn't be in there. You should put Dame in instead. Blah, blah, blah. Luka is beating Dame in every single statistical category.
Yes.
Dame is beating Curry in most statistical categories. And has a better record. And is doing it with less people.
Yes.
So why is no one saying put Curry out instead of Luka? Is that just because of the Curry love?
I'm going to say yeah. I would say yes.
He got over 2.4 million votes and he won the popular vote. But Dame Lillard should have been in instead of him. He's having an MVP caliber season. And Warriors are just 500 at the moment. I just wanted to get that off my chest. I don't like the Luka hate. I think when a player gets to the top of his game...
Warriors are 500. Dallas even 500? Yeah.
No, we're not.
No, that's...
But
so I do understand the Luka hate a little bit more.
No.
I mean, let's be honest. You've had...
We're a 14 and 15.
Yes, and that's putting it nicely considering only a few days ago you were far below that. But Portland are a top 7 seed in the whole entire league right now.
Yeah.
Portland in the West
Top 4, aren't they?
are a top 5 seed.
Top 5, yeah, after today.
And that's without CJ for what, majority of the season? And I'm not saying
Probably
CJ...
6 weeks now.
A long time. Like 80% of the season.
Literally.
I'm not saying CJ's a messiah. He's not an all-star player. He probably could be, if he kept playing, he could be all-star this season on the bench, whatever.
But is he an upgrade on Gary Trent Jr.?
Yes, he's an upgrade on Gary Trent Jr. But he's not enough to take over this team and change it. So, but that just gives more respect to Dame and what he's been able to do with this team.
100%.
So,
I completely agree. And Ronnie 2K, not very happy about the Dame snub because that is their cover athlete. So just a quick shout out to 2K there. Feel free to drop the sponsor.
Yeah.
Um,
Even a comment would be fine. It'd be fine.
And speaking of Doncic, moving on today.
Yes, the Dallas Mavericks had a
Dallas Mavericks.
nice win, I guess. I mean, you were supposed to beat Memphis, but carry on.
So there's been an Arctic vortex in Texas. And in the south. So in
Arctic
Tennessee
vortex.
as well.
Okay.
That's what they're calling it.
That's what they're calling it.
Mate, you read the news, that's what they're calling it.
Vortex.
That is what they're calling it. So, yes, this may have wiped out half my fantasy team last week.
And that's what you're salty about.
And I still won.
Anyway.
So, it doesn't really matter. Because
Guess not.
who's the greatest? I am.
Donkey.
And Luka didn't show up today. Couldn't shoot for the first half.
No, he couldn't.
Went 0 for 4. First 4 shots. Wasn't very good. And just couldn't get a bucket.
That's Luka.
Had a few turnovers to start off with. Ended up with 21-7-5.
That's Luka.
But we will not talk about Luka. Because who killed it? Tim Hardaway Sr.'s son.
Good God.
Tim Hardaway Jr. He lit up the Memphis Grizzlies defense.
He did?
They
Played
could
very
do-
well.
They threw. Who they throwing? Xavier Tillman. Psh, Get away. Desmond Bain
Oh,
and his big pipes
let's just
threw him at him.
bring out these defensive caliber players.
Justice Winslow,
Oh
they
God,
couldn't stop him.
these all defense players from years gone by.
This man was absolutely on fire. I got him in my fantasy team for just today because he's had like a week rest. So I knew he'd just get hot. Because what happens in an Arctic vortex? Tim Hardaway gets hot.
Do we know that?
That is what happened. So he put up 29 points today in only 28 minutes.
That's nice.
And you know what? Shot 64%, shooting 64% from 3 as well. Going 4 from 5 with his free throws.
But that's Tim Hardaway Jr., isn't it?
And you know what?
That's what he's going to do. He's going to pop up and give you nothing one game. He'll give you 3, 1, and 2 the next game. And then he's going to give you 29 on streaky shooting.
That leads me to part of the problem
He's
with
like
this
a
Dallas
Terrence
Mavericks
Ross.
team.
That's all it is.
This Dallas Mavericks team. There is one player I can trust. And that's why I don't think we're going to contend this year. I didn't think we were going to contend at all. I thought that people were too hot on us. And I didn't like that.
Pretty sure you told me, you had $100 on them to win the title.
If AD did his Achilles, that was.
That's right.
Yes, but no, I just, like Josh Richardson, I couldn't have been more hyped up about him.
Yeah, we love
Great, yeah, we do.
that. We did love that.
Great defensive
3
acquisition.
and D.
And, geez, he's been disappointing.
Yeah, it's been a bit.
Look, you got Finney Smith. We talked about him today.
Whatever.
He's good. He's a good role player. I like him.
Yeah, whatever.
You got Kleber, who is my second favourite player on the
Yeah,
Dallas
for some odd
Mavericks.
reason.
Because that man hits threes.
He does.
And you know how many points did he put up today?
How many?
2 points. Didn't shoot a single three.
There you go.
And all he does is hit threes all the time. Why is he not hitting those threes? Dwight Powell, he relies on athleticism and being explosive.
Since an injury.
Doing his Achilles, that's not going to help you.
No.
Tim Hardaway, don't talk to me.
Just a Terrence Ross.
Jalen Brunson,
I like Brunson.
I really like him. I think he's Mr. Consistent on our team.
Yeah. You need those type of players on your bench.
You 100% do. But apart from that, I don't trust anyone.
If, let's say Porzingis has been just defended out of the game by Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
Let's say that hypothetically. And Doncic can't get his shots to go.
Yeah.
Which is this could happen any given night.
100%.
Who are you going to rely on?
No one steps up.
You're not going to rely on Tim Hardaway. You're not going because he's streaky. You're not going to rely on who was the other one we're talking about, Jay Rich, because he's
not even streaky.
I don't even think Jay Rich has gone from being a guy who can make his own shot to only being able to hit knockdown open jumpers. That's it.
And sometimes he can't even.
And even then, he's not even. I can't trust him anymore to give me an open corner three.
Definitely not. And it's just
He reminds me of Danny Green last year at Lakers.
Oh no! Don't even mention that.
That's what he's now. He's a 3 and D Danny Green. That's what he is now.
And that's just part of the problem. I just don't see us contending this year.
No.
And you look at KP and you're like, oh, KP's having a bad season as well. That man is averaging 21 points and 8 rebounds.
He's playing fine.
That's just fine.
Probably with a block or two as well.
You're coming off a meniscus surgery.
Exactly.
And you get 20 points and 8 rebounds.
Exactly.
Pretty good. So there's really no excuse.
No.
I'm seeing all sorts of wild things thrown around. Fire Rick Carlisle. That's ridiculous. Trade this, that, and the rest. I think we are in a bit of a sticky spot if Porzingis doesn't come and be 26 and 10 player.
He has to be.
He has to be, because I think we struggle if he's not.
Because even if he gives you 26 and 10 and Luke gives you 25, 10 and 10.
Yeah.
What's next?
Exactly. Just have no one to rely on. That's what we need. We need those players like the last year for the Lakers. You had the KCPs, you had the Carusos. Yeah. This year you're having the Talon Horton Tuckers. 100%. Those kind of players to step up, 100%. Get hot on a consistent basis. Exactly. Like a Jordan Clarkson right now for the Utah Jazz.
That's what we want. That's what we like, Utah.
That man is, on any given night, can put up 40.
You need that 6-man. You need that guy.
There was a lot of questions when he signed that contract.
100%.
What was $60 million?
Paying it twofold now.
Big time. He has been key.
Back. 100%.
Been absolutely key.
Dare I say, probably their third most important player.
Honestly.
I'll put him above Connolly in terms of importance.
Yeah, well, Connolly's been interesting this year. Like, there's been a lot of talk about whether he should be voted an All-Star, because he has never been an All-Star.
Never.
How strange.
Wow, for a guy who had the most expensive contract in the NBA history for a minute.
Never been an All-Star in his entire career.
That's shocking, actually.
It's not that shocking.
It's not shocking, but it's surprising.
Because you think back on it. He's always been in the West.
Yeah, he's
never... If he was in the East, he'd honestly be like a 6 or 7 time All-Star.
Yeah, 100%.
You look at someone like Chris Bosh. 11-time All-Star.
Well, look at DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry.
Exactly.
I think DeRozan's a 7-time All-Star. He probably could make it again this year, make it 8. I don't quote me these numbers, but dare I say he's a 7-time All-Star.
Who?
DeRozan.
Oh, he probably is.
And he's going to make it, and he very well should make it again this year.
I think he should make it, 100%.
Spurs are in the 5th seed?
Yeah, they're ridiculously high.
I thought they were going to be a bottom 4 team.
They should have been.
They still should be.
Yeah, I just don't understand how it's working.
But you're right, that West for guard positions for so long, that's 10 years.
Yeah.
It's been impossible to break into.
Especially when you're going up against the ceremonial Kobe RIP.
Yeah.
Kobe spots.
100%.
He got 2 just because he's Kobe.
Just because it's Kobe, 100%.
So he's missing out on those. But
then you get triple-double averages, Steph Curry's.
Oh, no, speaking
It's
of.
too much.
James Harden.
James Harden,
Russell Westbrook,
Dame
and
Lillard's.
Steph Curry for 6 years in a row.
Exactly. It's too much.
It's hard. But no, obviously we hinted on it before with Joel Embiid, but the MVP race. Give me your top 3 right now off the dome. I'm throwing this out on you.
Bron, number 1.
Yeah.
I'll put in B2.
Yeah.
And then I'll have to put Dame 3.
Mate.
I think Dame's probably doing enough.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I have exactly the same. I thought you were going to throw the Joker in there.
See, he's the one that he's such borderline, and he probably should get more respect than he deserves. I think he's now getting the Damian Lillard treatment of the last 5 years.
Oh, 100%.
He should be getting far more respect than what he's getting. And I'm not sure why he's not.
Yeah, it's just the fact.
He's the number 1 fantasy player in the league right now, by a stretch.
And
Dare I say, I don't think anyone's averaging on 55 a game. He's like 62 or something stupid in fantasy points.
Mental. He is falling into that trap of being underrated, but I think that's largely due to Denver and their lack of success. They've made a conference final in a strange year where they got swept. No, it wasn't. No, they didn't make a conference final.
No, they got done by...
Yeah, they got swept in the semi-final.
They did.
So that's all they've done. Semi-final, and they've had this team together. I know they're young.
But dare I say, from that day, they got worse.
They
lost Jeremy Grant.
Jeremy Grant and Malik Beasley.
And we love Beasley.
Yeah, you do.
They got worse.
And I love Jeremy Grant.
And Jeremy Grant's proved he was the most sought after commodity.
Like, literally.
On the free agency this year.
Oh.
He was iron ore.
And if you look back now, he would have made so much more money. You know what he's done? He's bet on himself.
100% he has.
And one of the few players who is really paying off for.
And good on him for doing it.
100%. He's like, you know what? I'm going to go live in Detroit. Not something you want to do.
4 years of my life.
2, I have to play in Detroit.
Which is
really not something you want to do.
I didn't even know that. I couldn't name their starting 5.
Their best player is Blake, and he just can't even move at the moment.
No, he hasn't made a dunk in a year.
It's actually upsetting.
It's very upsetting. And
then you're like, all right, I want to be a focal point of an offense when you're coming off the bench in a playoff.
He was just a 6'7" man.
Oh, he literally. If that Utah series didn't happen...
Who's Jeremy Grant?
Literally. He would have signed for like... 8.
He would still be at Denver on a 4-year, $20 million contract.
Literally. It'd be ridiculous. He'd literally be making $8 million.
Yeah.
But now, he's better on himself. He's averaging 24 points a game. And I think he should be an all-star, 100%. And he's not going to be.
No, he won't be.
Just because of Detroit's poor record.
Yeah.
But then, that brings us back to Jokic. That's why Jokic is not getting that love. It's the poor performances year after year.
It is, and it's repetitive now.
It is. That is expected. You don't go into a series with Denver and you're like, oh, I'm a bit nervous. Because none of them have been... They've all sort of been there before, but not to the highest.
No.
They made the Western Conference Finals against the Lakers. Forgot to mention that, actually.
Yes.
That was already said and done.
100%.
And that was lucky. If that Conley shot goes in the first round, they're in first round exit.
Yeah, 100%.
And you know what?
Exactly.
They're going ham trading Jamal Murray for James Harden. And we could be having a very different conversation right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting.
Anyway, don't want to talk about if, ands, and buts.
But you look at it, for example, for Denver, on the last thing on Denver, they are the 7th seed right now. They are less than a game ahead of Golden State.
Wow. Who were tipped this season to just break 500 because Curry might average 35 points a game.
Exactly. They are 1.5 games ahead of Memphis Grizzlies, who are 13 and 14. Denver are barely 500 right now. They're 1 game over 500.
Wow. And you look at them. Who's not healthy?
Jamal Murray hit a 50 burger, and he looks like he's back to his his playoff performances from last year, which was freakish.
100%.
He was on another tear. Jokic is MVP caliber.
Yeah.
We didn't put him in our top 3, but he's in the conversation. Jamal Murray has had a slow start, but he's found his feet. I think he had 50 2 nights ago, 33 or something the other night.
Yeah, he's capable of it. It's just
They should be doing far better than what they are.
Definitely.
Far better. And then after all that, they're still not doing much. They've lost to Atlanta. They got past Cleveland. They lost to Wizards. They lost to Boston. They lost to Kings. They lost to all these teams.
Apart from beating the Lakers earlier, they've shown they just don't really... They're not able to hang with the big boys.
No, 100%.
Because they don't have the players to do it. Like, last year they had Malik Beasley and they had Jeremy Grant to throw at players like LeBron and wings, like often the best players in the league right now. They were
so deep.
So deep.
And Torrey Craig as well.
Oh, Torrey Craig, yeah, exactly.
Craig, and we call him. Another one who's left. He's gone to Milwaukee there, I believe.
Yeah, he has. And Will Barton doesn't want to play there anymore.
No, it's unreal. Because they were that team. They could go 9 deep and go, your ninth, their ninth deepest player was Malik Beasley. And you'd be like, okay, we don't know much about him, but he's going to give you a bucket.
Exactly. Now
he's a 20 and 5 guy in Minnesota.
You look at the players that have branched off now.
It's unbelievable.
They've become so successful. So there's just been a talent factory. And they've not been reaching these heights.
They've been talent factory for nothing.
Is that because of Mike Malone?
Could be.
Is he on the hot seat right now?
I don't know. I'm going to say no. But he should be, but he's not.
He definitely should be.
But he won't be. He's probably... Because he got him that number 1 seed only, a year ago or 2? I can't remember. 2 years ago. He has had that. That was his safety blanket. He'll be fine now after another couple of seasons.
Yep.
But you're probably right. And how long can we try this same experiment of Jamal Murray and Jokic for the same results? Millsap is not getting any fucking younger.
You know the definition of insanity? No. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
Well, the NBA loves that, don't they? Well, actually, every sport in the world, certain teams love that, don't they? How many times can we rinse and repeat this?
I reckon it's too many times already.
Something needs to change.
Absolutely. Well, anyway, that's enough NBA talk. For quite a slow NBA day, we managed to get a lot out of that.
We have. We've got, dare I say, half an hour of just NBA shit out of that.
Definitely. We'll look forward
if you are still here, I'm shocked.
Look forward to more of that because we just go off on tangents.
100%. And if you're still here, not including myself and Doggo re-listening to this, you've done very well.
There is no one to stop us.
And I won't be re-listening to this either.
I will be listening to this in the car.
Okay, so will I.
All 30 seconds of it. And then
I'll stop after cringing myself to death from hearing my voice.
But hey, Cam, come on, we talked about this. You need to be professional.
Yeah.
But on to a bit of AFL preview.
Yeah, real quick.
Well, not so
much. We're going to keep this podcast below an hour, so...
100%. But not so much an AFL preview.
No.
We want to talk about Dream Team at the moment.
Next week, we'll get into AFL previews.
Exactly. We need to work on our predictions still.
Yeah.
Because I need to work out 3 or 4 more ways to get my standings wrong.
Yeah.
And then we can work it out from there.
100%.
So I show my lack of AFL knowledge and my utter bias to the Melbourne Demons.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I need to find out another 5 ways of how I can fuck this season up.
100%.
Yeah.
And what money you can lose before it even starts.
Yeah, I've already lost the money. So
Cam, or if you're able to just go through some of your locks.
Our Dream Team
this
locks.
Year in the Dream Team.
So we thought to preview the year for Dream Team. We're not going to go through our teams yet. That'll be a separate episode in the coming weeks.
They will change 30 times
in the
next 6 hours.
But however, I'm going to give you 3 players, dare I say, that will not change. I will lock them in, and because I've now set it on record, I'm going to have to stick to it. So, we're going with 3 players or 5 players?
I think we go 5.
Fuck, okay, now that sucks. Alright, so I'll start off. In defence, I'm going to go with Zach Williams. He's a lock. Look, it's not a very outlandish call. 40% ownership. But with Newman coming back, with Doherty coming back, and with Sard in that team, there's no room for him on the half-back flank or on the defence. He's going to have to be a 90% midfielder.
I've gone without him. Just saying that.
I'm going to go Williams as a lock. That's no surprise. I think half the league does. Next lock for me is Zach Merritt. I think this is going to be Merritt's breakout season. I'm not going to go with a Lockie Neal. So I think Merritt is just a lock. He's going to be your uber primo. He's going to give you 118 a week. And I'm going to be very happy with it. So that's 2. 3, I'm probably going to go with Scott Pendlebury for now. He's a temporary lock just because of Adams' injury cloud. Adams is the lock of the team no matter what. But with Adams out, Pendles is the lock. And I mean, Pendlebury averages 100 plus against every single team for his career in the AFL.
Wow.
How fucked is that?
Even against Collingwood.
That's even against Collingwood in inter-club matches. How fucked is that? Every single team he averages 100, except for GWS where he averages 99.
Oh, all right. Well, you're throwing your stat there.
Fucked is that? No, that is an unbelievable stat. He averages over 110 for most of them as well.
Wow.
It's an unbelievable. So Pendles is just criminally underrated. He's not underrated, but he is in a way. So I'm going to go Pendles 3 to wrap up the last two. Side bum as the fourth because I think with Treloar out, we saw what Side bum could do last year with Treloar out. I think as a forward, it's a no-brainer.
Wake up naked.
Yep, wake up naked. And it's all. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. He averaged 113 last year. Yeah. I know that's obviously with the added on 25% because it's Sean Corns, but regardless, he averaged 113 last year, and that was predominantly without Treloar. Treloar out the team. He's going to be feeding off that. And my fifth lock, this one's an interesting one. It's a bit of... it's only because of... my fifth lock is Toby Nankervis.
Wow. Nankervis.
Yeah, I've gone with the Nank because he's going to be the number one ruck this year.
Yes. With
Soldo not going around because there's injuries and whatever happens to Soldo. So I've gone with Nank, and I can't justify the Gorn price tags this early in the season. And especially with his break-evens the first few weeks, it's going to be, I think, by round 3, it's going to be around 130 to 140 break-even. So he's going to be back to 850, 880k before you know it. So then get Gorn in, no shit.
And you did earlier have Gorn and
I
Grundy.
did. I had that, no worries, up until a couple of days ago.
The 2Gs, the Gucci.
But to save, I think, 400k to go from Gorn to Nank, because Nank's only low 500s.
Wow.
I love it. So, as the number one ruckman, and you go back a couple of seasons ago, their premiership year, 2017, when they beat the Crows, I believe 2017, he was averaging high 80s. I can easily see him doing that again.
Definitely.
So, they're my 5 locks. Side bum, Nankervis, Williams, Zerrett, and Pendles.
That's very interesting.
On to you. I've got one of each position there as well.
I have gone for none of those players.
That's a good sign.
Barring Pendles.
Yeah, you like Pendles, don't you?
And that is purely to copy you.
Yeah,
because
you stole that from me.
I want to get Adams in because I'm a big Adams lover as well.
Likewise.
But he's not in at the start of the season. So I'm not going to have him in because it's important that I win, obviously, because I beat you every year. So I will need to continue that.
Still waiting for the year you beat me, but anyway.
Anyway, my first lock. You're going to see, unfortunately, a lot of Adelaide Crows players. Now, we are not big Adelaide Crows fans here. No, we may live in Adelaide.
Fucking hate them.
Not a big Crows fan.
If you're a Crows fan, stop listening.
And a lot of North Melbourne players.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Our two rivals, actually.
But that's early fantasy, isn't it? You've got to have these scrubs from these scrub teams.
You
have to make them coin.
Because players like my first lock, Rory Laird.
Yeah. Rory
Laird showed it last season that the place that he belongs at least 60% of the time, midfield.
At minimum.
Midfield.
At minimum,
he
60%.
Is... Wow, last year I couldn't believe how much he took off.
He was getting the pill.
His season was shocking. Not shocking, but... Well, yeah, shocking. Not in terms of Adelaide Crows. It was pretty good. But then towards the end of the season, when he was put into the midfield...
He was giving you 35 touches a game in short and quarters.
Easily. He was
getting leather poisoning.
He was. He should have been out for the whole off-season with leather poisoning.
He was getting it.
So, I'm amazed by that.
And you include the Brad Crouch departure.
Exactly. I was going to say, freeze up a bit in there. Like, they're going to get some young kids in, but I trust Landy more. I think Landy's going to finish every single game.
They drafted so poorly, Crows, it makes no difference to me.
Oh, yeah. That's just bias, Cam.
No, they drafted terribly.
Another player that is going to be a lock from the Adelaide Crows, Wayne Millera.
Yes, I have the Miller as well. I have the Miller too.
For the same reason. I think him in the midfield, him in the guts, on the wing.
He's a great ball user.
He is. He just finds the pill. He gets in there, off the back flank, and geez, he finds the pill. And you know what? His usage with it, I love watching him play. I honestly do.
I do like watching Miller.
He's just a smooth player.
But my only problem with Miller, I have him in my team as well.
Yes.
But is this another case of almost the Heaney syndrome where it's like, he's going to take over this year? Because Heaney, we were waiting for Heaney to grab the league by the balls and be a Brownlow medalist.
I feel like Miller has never been like that.
But now it's like Miller, we've had, dare I say, it's about 2 or 3 years in a row now where we're going, he's going to break out.
Yeah.
He's not going to be a Brownlow level, but he's going to break out and take it over and just be an 80 to 100 player a game.
That's not what I want from him. I want him to average 75 to 85 points.
And that's why you lose every year.
At 446k, I like that.
And his break-even's going to be, 60s?
For everyone listening at home, this is Dream Team.
Not Supercoach.
So not Supercoach, because do we look like losers? No.
We're not educated enough Supercoach.
No, definitely not. I was explained Supercoach to me, and it went right over my head.
Yeah, no,
so,
let me stop listening.
The next lock in my team, I don't know why you didn't say this. He's high ownership, but Matty Rao. Have you got him?
Yeah, I do have him in.
You have to have him.
I think you have.
I don't think there's much to say about him. This man averaged 90 last year in, 4 games?
In short quarters, in his first ever game as well.
4 games. His first game was terrible. His next 3, he got 3 Brownlow votes in every single one.
3.
And I'm led to believe, don't hold me to this, the most Brownlow votes for anyone in their first year. And the man played 4 games.
That is something else, isn't it?
It is true. And it's crazy. So I've got Little Ginger in there. Another player that is going to be a lock for me, and he's been a very popular pick, but I just have to mention him, is Tom Phillips.
Yeah, you had to mention him. I left him out. But
You left him out?
No, I've got him in my team, but I left him out for the locks.
Yeah, I thought you did some PODs.
Yeah, I did some pods.
So I'll be me and choose what everyone else on Fantasy Pigsty Facebook page chooses.
Yeah.
Shout out to them, by the way.
That shouts you up.
Feel free to share our podcast on the page.
Yeah, 100%.
So I've obviously chosen him for the obvious reasons. Obviously, Hawthorn, I'm hyped on this year like I was last year.
Yeah, we were hyped last year.
Didn't go well last year.
No, terrible.
Look, if you're going to learn anything from this podcast, is that if we hype on something, go against it.
Yeah, 100%.
Please.
Whatever we like, get against it.
Especially if it's going to make you any money.
Yeah, if we say bet on it, don't bet on it.
100%.
We'll do the betting, you do the listening.
My next lock. A little bit of a POD for you, for everyone listening at home.
That's all.
LDU.
Yeah,
Davis
you
Uniacke.
like him. The ball.
The ball. Oh my gosh. I heard murmurs about LDU like everyone has. Yeah. You've heard it hype about him and everything. Last year, when I watched him play for the bloody 6 games that he played, and he averaged
and the games
70.
He turned on that were North Melbourne involved.
Exactly.
Minimal.
Mainly the ones that I punts on that were my last leg on a Sunday.
All 6 of them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I watched LDU and I was blown away. The eye test is purely eye test. He averaged 70 points last year. I don't care. I'm not having a team without him.
Wow.
Yes, I am very passionate about this.
His ownership, sub 1%?
2%.
There you go.
LDU
That's
last year, I have nothing to back it up. I wish I could come up with the stats.
You need these though.
I'm the stats man. I love stats.
You need these.
But LDU, the eye test, oh my gosh, I can't have him not in my team.
You need that random player.
You do. That little bit of a POD.
If your team's vanilla, like everyone, if you just go full vanilla every year, you're not going to get anywhere. You need to have a couple of risks that will get you over the top.
Exactly. And look, that's my 5 locks, but I'm going to add a 6 in. Because I'm the host of the show, I don't care.
Jesus Christ.
Exactly.
When did you become host?
We're co-hosts. No one's going to tell me what to do.
Okay.
The man, Maximum Lunch.
Oh, fuck off.
Max Lynch. The Ruckman from Collingwood. Oh, amazing. What a man.
Maximum Lunch if you want to sponsor the
Maximum
podcast.
Lunch, yep. So feel free to follow Maximum Lunch on Instagram. Some quality content. He posts some really good skits and videos.
We'll tag his Instagram in the bio.
It will be in the bio, and he is going to be one of the icons of this podcast.
If just feel free, if you listen to the podcast, which I'm sure you are, if you made it to this point, go and just harass his Instagram.
No, don't
comment on every single one.
No, please don't listen to that.
Just tag Wing It Podcast. Also follow Wing It Podcast at Wing It Podcast on Instagram. Just bombard it, rate it.
Yeah, don't harass him though.
Rate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're my 6 locks of the year. Mainly,
fuck it, rate it.
Mainly Max Lunch. But it's going to be an interesting year for the AFL. Who knows what's going on? We've seen some rule changes today, or in the last week. We'll quickly hint on that. You can't move 1 foot to left or 1 foot to right on the mark, which makes no sense and provides you with no actual advantage, and no one asked for it. But you're not allowed to do that. And we saw it today in a little sim match from Essendon. A guy was standing on the mark and he moved to his left as the player
was running around an arc.
Which looked like a play on.
Buddy arc, yeah.
And then it was given 50. And then he got a shot on goal. So
that's going
to be an interesting
fun
year.
For the first 5 rounds, isn't it?
Exactly. It's going to be an interesting year. I'm going to be in Melbourne for round 1. I'll be watching Richmond Carlton live. So I'll come to you live from Melbourne for that one. Maybe. That's a big shout, to be fair.
It's a big shout.
And I will be hopefully watching my Demons beat Freo on the Saturday as well.
You got a
1:15 p.m.
That's nice.
Yeah, so it's a pretty nice spot. And yeah, I'll be over in Melbourne for that, so I'll be the correspondent over there.
Beautiful.
Definitely. But yeah, there we go. The first episode of the Wing It podcast.
We've kept it to 55 minutes, which is not bad.
Amazing.
Dare I say some weeks will probably be around this most weeks. We talk a lot of shit, don't we?
100%. We will be talking this shit off camera as well, so don't be alarmed. This is just actually how we talk all the time.
For, dare I say, 7 hours a day, probably minimum.
100%. And you asked, don't you work full time, both of you? And
yes.
We both say yes. And just don't tell our employees that all we do is talk shit.
Constantly.
Exactly. But no, I think it went really well.
That's enough.
And we'll do a quick preview for next week. So next week we'll just be going over some things with obviously our AFL predictions.
Yep. So next week will be AFL predictions for sure.
Yep. And obviously
our ladder predictions.
What we think for the ladder predictions, what we think for the player awards.
Yep.
And everything like that.
Less on the NBA unless anything huge happens. We've gone all over a lot of NBA today.
Yeah, definitely.
So any major events we'll speak on.
Well, I think something might happen between now and then.
Oh, I'm sure it will. Minnesota might win a game.
Will Andre Drummond be traded?
That's exactly right.
Or will Blake Griffin be traded? Definitely not on that one.
Probably not.
No one's taking his knees.
No, at all.
And we'll get a bit of Cam Stables next week as well.
Yeah.
So, got the Autumn Carnival coming up.
Exactly right. Autumn Carnival's coming up.
We got the Adelaide
just
Cup.
Started. So
yeah, it's just started. There you go.
Autumn Carnival.
And
in summer.
We'll be at that Adelaide Cup. We'll be giving you live feed from there.
Yeah, we might even do a live podcast from the Adelaide Cup from the White Claw Bar.
Potentially.
Probably not.
Definitely not.
But you never know.
Well, that has been the first episode of the Wing It podcast. So, from me, Matt, and
from myself, Cameron,
we would just like to thank you so much for listening.
If you made this entire way,
which you definitely didn't,
hats off to you.
And definitely tune into the next episode. Just make sure to follow us on Instagram.
Yep, at the Wing It Podcast.
Follow us on TikTok.
At the Wing It Podcast.
And have a look at us on Spotify.
At the Wing It Podcast.
Exactly right. Good night, everyone.